I went to the gym and I was lifting and I'm bawling my head off, like profusely crying. I mean, vehement crying, like crying. People were like, um, I am a mess in the best way ever. I don't know what it is. I just feel like I've always been soft, to him, aggressive towards the enemy, but I feel like, I don't know, I just reached a new place of softness. I don't know. I don't even know. When you pray prayers like, God, mold me and shape me, you squeeze whatever you need to, clip whatever. I don't know if you guys do, but I pray it constant. I need you to clip what needs clipped and break what needs broken. Shake anything out of me that's not of you. I do not want to manifest me. I need to manifest you. So Jesus, here I am. Do it. Do it again. Do it again. When I read the word, I ask him to cut me deep. I ask him to show me my created value over and over and over again. I ask him to give me wisdom every day of my life because I really need it. I need it. It seems like now I need it more than ever, but I really always needed it. And once you taste and see that he is good, this world isn't tasty anymore. Once you taste and see that he is good, this world has nothing to offer you that's appealing. Gosh. Hey, did you finish that testimony today, buddy? You didn't. I'm over here going, you got to be kidding me. He stopped halfway through. About the guy that you have a problem. You don't have a problem. Your wife has a problem. Did you finish it? Oh. Okay, but I'm sitting on the corner going, oh God, tell the whole thing. It's so amazing. No, because it's love, man. It's like, find it on YouTube. It's really amazing. Oh, it's what love looks like in action. Because in that message, I think it's called Becoming Love. Yeah, it is. Because I've seen it. A lot. But I've heard you share it personally. Life-changing. So if you can just... What is it? Grace Church 2014, Becoming Love. You got fans, man. Oh, see, that helped me not in crying. It's so good. No, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful message. Isn't it amazing what media can do when you use it in the right way? I mean, you can be all over the planet at one time, where you can only be in one room at a time. Media, like, it's amazing. It's astounding all over the world. Like, people are being changed all over the world. Like, we started putting, trying to get YouTube videos out there for free in people's hands. And in 2014, we had 331,000 minutes watched. And all they are is just in your face, intense, educational, life-changing. Come on, let's seek Jesus with everything we are. Let's give up this whole worldly life and go after Jesus. You can't love him and love the world. And just trying to get it out there. And last year, they tracked him. We did over 100 million minutes. So it went from 331,000 in 2014 to 100 million. I don't even know how. But that's fascinating to me because it's all crushing the devil. Like, I can't get into Canada. I'm blacklisted from Canada. Just because my testimony's real. Yeah, we've been trying for 4 years. So we haven't been able to get in there. But the great thing is the videos are saturating Canada. And it's like amazing. Like, it's a way to reach countries that you can't get into. And even countries that you can't get the internet are getting the internet. I don't even know how it happens. But underground churches in countries that it's forbidden are watching the videos, training, and going out and being the hands and feet of Jesus, man. That's like incredible. That's amazing. Let's just not limit God. He's God, and he's amazing. Amen? Cool. Okay. Well, I guess I'm just going to share about Jesus. Again, I just going to share what it means. Just love him with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Just to actively participate in the gospel, you have to deny yourself. I don't know if you heard that yet. But you've bound to maybe heard it once at least over the last couple days, that it's all about denying yourself, picking up your cross and following him. It's about denying who you were never created to be so that you can finally step into who you really are. It's about giving up something that you were never created to be so that you can become who God says you are. When somebody gives their life to Jesus, they are giving up something that they were never created to be, to act like, to talk like, to think like, to walk like, so that you can actually step into the true identity that you have with God as your Father and you being a son, to where you can have this intense relationship with the Father that loves you with every part of him, so that you can actually become who he says you are. And when I read, I am like overwhelmed with the fact that you say, like I learned it from Dan in the beginning. He said, just say yes. Like when you read your Bible, say yes. Don't say, what? How could it be? Just say yes. God says you're forgiven. Yes. Thank you, Lord. God says you're free. Yes. God says seek him. Yes. He says that he's a rewarder of those that diligently seek him. Yes. He says to seek him in the secret place when no one's looking. That means don't seek him with everybody, but seek him when no one's looking. Seek him when nobody sees you, when it's just you, whether that's in your car, in your bathroom, in your bedroom, in your cubicle, no matter where you are, you can always lift your heart to Jesus and fix yourself and gaze upon him in everything that you do. At your workplace, you're doing your job. God says to not do your job for the people that you're working for. You might do a great job for them, but you're going to do a better job for Jesus. So he says, whatever I do, whether in word or in deed, I'm going to do it as unto the Lord and not for people. No matter how amazing my boss is, whether he's a Christian or whether he's an atheist, I'm going to do the best job that I possibly can because I'm doing my job unto the King. So I'm not just going to do a great job for my boss because he's a Christian and he deserves it. I'm going to do an amazing job for my boss that's an atheist because he deserves it. He deserves to see what Jesus would look like on the job. Well, he doesn't deserve that. Well, if you want what you deserve, go to hell, because that's what you deserve. So if you want it, this is an amazing upside down, inside out world. We don't just give people what they deserve. We don't just repay people for this. You don't just reap what you sowed. This isn't, like Dan said, just different sayings that are out there. You made your bed, now lie in it. What if, Jesus said, unless a seed falls into the ground and dies, it abides alone. But if it does, what happens? Many come up. So what he's saying is that in the gospel, when I allow him to be my substitute, when I allow him to be my propitiation, when I see him in the sacrificial life that he lived and the sacrificial death that he had, and then the sacrificial yet beneficial resurrection that happened, what happens is now his life becomes my life here. So I don't just reap what I sowed, I reap what he sowed. So he made my bed, now I'm lying in that. Or I can live with the principle of I reap what I sow, and that's like a dangerous place to be. Now, if you sow to the flesh, you reap corruption. If you sow to the spirit, you reap life. I get that. But when you really see who you've been created to be, you no longer have fun sowing to the flesh. When I see who I really am, I realize that I'm no longer bipolar. I'm actually a Christian. I'm not fighting against the flesh and trying to shut your flesh up. Be quiet. You can't fight your flesh like that. You submit to God, and your flesh has to bow. You guys okay? I know this sounds crazy because we've been taught everything counter. We've been taught completely different. And people think that this is heresy when I talk like, boy, especially when you talk like this. Because when you start to say that you can actually live free from actively engaging in sin, everybody thinks, oh my gosh, this is like, and the only reason that you say that is because you're gauging it on your life you're living. You're gauging that statement on where your life is now and what you've been through. You're not gauging what you're not gauging what you're saying by what he said. You're gauging what you're saying by the life that you lived, because it doesn't seem like a possibility. It seems so far away. It seems so far away when someone says, "How you doing?" and you go, "I'm doing so good." People think, well, there's got to be some issues. We don't believe that Jesus canceled our lifetime subscription to issues. We don't believe that because we're gauging what we believe on how we think with an unrenewed mind. And we're gauging how we think in the way that seems right to a man instead of the way that is right, that is righteousness unto God. You all right? Is that too much? It's not too much. Come on. If Jesus really set us free, why don't we just be free? But we don't use our liberty as a vice. We don't use our liberty to like control or manipulate or maneuver. I'm not using my freedom to manipulate. That's not freedom at all. That's like control. That's legalism. I have to maneuver you. That's wrong, man. No, this is an amazing life. I tell my kids all the time because they're known as Todd White's kids. Destiny White, Todd White's daughter. Are you Todd White's daughter? And I've always told her, honey, you're my daughter, but you're God's daughter first. And you're not following in my footsteps. God has his own footsteps for you to walk in. And God created you to be the best you that he created you to be. You're not to be like me. I mean, there are things that you can glean and learn from me, and I can help and pour into you, but you're not to be just like me. You're to be like you, but you're to be fully possessed with him so that you and I can both carry the same mind, the mind of Christ, but in different bodies, yet one body. It's powerful, but I teach my kids, man, you are responsible for your own faith. You can't ride on daddy's faith. I couldn't ride on Dan's faith. I was fascinated. I'm like traveling around and going to local meetings, and it was amazing because Dan would let me sit there, and I would go up and it was so funny. We'd go down to this doctor's house, the homeopath doctor, sit on the porch, and people would come. First, we'd be in the living room. Then it got out through the living room. Then we'd go on the porch, and Dan would sit here, and I would always sit on the right side. I don't know why, but it seemed like I always did. And I would get a chair. I'd open my Bible, and I'd have my pen out, and I'd be like, yeah. And Dan would talk, and I'd be like, oh. And I'd just write it down, and I'm trying to figure out, how do these go together? Oh my gosh, this is fascinating. What do you do? But I would take my notes and I would go back home when I was all by myself, when no one was looking, when you didn't see me, when my wife didn't see me, when no one saw me. I'd be in my bedroom. I'd lock the door. I'd go in there by myself. I'd open my Bible. I'd open the notes and go. I would. I'd go, how does this go with that? And I'd get on my knees and I'd say, God, I really have no idea. This is crazy. I know you set me free. I know you love me. I know you're giving me words of knowledge. I am so thankful for this, but there's more. It's not that I'm not content, because I told you that godly contentment is great gain. I'm content with who he's created me to be. I'm content with being a son. I'm content with him being my dad, but I can know him more. And when I am around somebody that knows him more than I do, I am like, it's mine. The wisdom of the world is sensual and demonic. It's full of self-seeking and envy. So what I can't do is I can't look at Dan's life and say he knows so much more than me. Oh God, I wish I had Dan's life. That's an evil place. It says everything evil is in there. But to honor Dan in the name of Dan, I receive a Dan's reward. Do you know what I'm saying? It says you honor a prophet, and in the name of a prophet, you receive a prophet's reward. I'm not so much after the reward as I am to know him more. My quest has been to know him more. Like I read it the other day in 1 Corinthians 2, where he's talking about, man, he's known everything. This, that, I consider all of that nothing for the sake of knowing him. Yet he's like schooled and brilliant and knows it all, but he considered all that nothing. I mean, this guy was brilliant. Saul was brilliant. And he said, just for the sake of knowing him. Actually, he said this. It's amazing. He goes, oh, that I might know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his suffering. People are like, yeah. No, they're not, yeah. When you say fellowship of his suffering, people are like, no, just the power. Just relax. I go through enough suffering. I need the power. No, you need to suffer. When you press into who God's created you to be and you find out that all of this is yours, all of it is yours, everything according to life and godliness. We've read it, we've talked about it. Everything is yours except your past. Your past doesn't belong to you, it belongs to Jesus. Okay, do you believe that? Do you know that nothing can separate you from receiving the love of God that's in Christ Jesus? Do you know that the only thing that can is your past? It didn't make the list. Can I just read it real quick? Oh, we're going to have fun today. We have fun. I have fun every day. So you can have fun with me or you cannot believe. It's true. Oh my. Are you ready? How many of you love Romans 8? How many of you find great joy in Romans 7? Romans 8. Yeah, Romans 7. Huh? I took that out. I don't deal with it. A lot of people that deal with Romans 7 have it in their life as a scapegoat to sin and say, Paul did it, I'm going to do it, face it, we're all going to do it, and live as a failure and live condemned, guilty, and ashamed. And then sear their conscience because they keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And they don't obey conviction, so it turns into condemnation. Do you know how to avoid condemnation? Obey your convictions. Ask God to convict you. Ask him to convict you. I said it last night, being convicted of right standing with God. Ask him to be convicted of right standing. I want you to convict me daily about being right with you, God. See, if we can't get to the place of righteousness, we're living on the wrong side of the cross. I'm just going to share a little bit about that, and then we'll see where we go. Okay. Now, I woke up so in love with Jesus today. I woke up like, oh God, my eyes are still swollen from yesterday. God, you're so good. You are so amazing. I love you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. People are like, what are you thanking him for? Just him. Just him. Thank you. Thank you. I thank him that when I'm alone with him, I'm in the secret place. And he sees me in secret. And I'm not asking him for stuff in secret. I want to know him when I'm in secret. Because he said, if I seek to know him, he will reward me because I seek him diligently. He says, if I seek him with all my heart, he'll reward me. And if I'm seeking him for him, then he rewards me with him. What would it be like to go into the secret place and seek him in the secret place and then get him when you come out? Like Dan said, a lot of prayers are just to ask for stuff and what he can do for us. But what if we really, really went in there and just asked him to be like him? I mean, we already were created in his image. Jesus restored what we were created in the image of. I love this. I said it. I think I said it. I say it all the time. I might have said it here. When Adam was told not to eat the tree, he did. Jesus, a life-giving spirit, the not second Adam, but the last Adam. When Jesus paid the price that he did, he paid the price for God to come and dwell inside of us that keeps us from ever wanting to eat the tree. My relationship with him, my intimacy with him, the reality of who I am when no one's looking, when I'm seeking him when no one's looking. That right there increases my capacity to know him exponentially. And every day I can know him more than I did yesterday. And that's my problem. It really is. What's wrong with you? I remember saying that to Dan when I met him in the church, suicidal. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? He said, it's not what's wrong, it's what's been made right. And I'm like, what? I had no idea. But when I looked in his eyes, it's so for real. I couldn't shake it. I'm like, oh my gosh. I didn't know what it was. It's like a bug that sees the light. He doesn't know that if he gets to the center and touches it, that's what you are when you know who you are. People don't know what it is. What is that? I see the light. Just saying. I'm serious. Oh, okay. I'll just go with verse 31. I mean, Romans 8 is pretty amazing. I learned this a long time ago, and I've been a Christian for a long time, 14 years. Not really long, but a long enough time. That when I read Romans 7, and I came to Dan and said, I am really, really confused. Because this is Paul, and what I don't understand is I've read Romans 3, 4, and 5, and I'm fascinated with righteousness. I'm fascinated that I'm forgiven. And in my heart, the last thing I wanted to do was sin. I sinned my whole life. I hurt people my whole life. The last thing I wanted to do was sin against somebody. It violated my heart to think about it. It violated my heart to, gosh, I came home from Teen Challenge. I know that I'm right with God. I'm fascinated that he forgave me. He didn't forgive me only, he forgave and forgot. And he'll never remember it again. And he threw it into a sea that he named forgetfulness. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good. People are like, he just found some new thing. He's just trying some new thing. It'll wear away. It's got worse. I'm not kidding. My family's like, oh, it's just a phase. Most of them were like, he's a liar. I mean, I heard everybody. And I'm fascinated, and I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to watch one of my favorite TV shows. And it was Mad TV. It was one of my favorite shows. And I was like, oh my gosh. I used to watch Saturday Night Live and Mad TV. Saturday Night Live, I watched it all growing up with John Belushi, all those guys, all the comics. It was one of my favorite shows, that and the scary horror shows. But my life, I was quick on my feet. I was always like, you couldn't get me because I would undercut. It was like, I was the guy at the party that had everybody rolling. The funny guy that made fun of everybody to make himself feel better, actually, because I felt better when people laughed at me, even though it was at other people's expense. And that was just my life. I mean, I was the comedian guy. I was the class clown. I got in a lot of trouble. I was the guy that always did. I told my kid I always took the dare. I did some dumb stuff. I did. I was the guy to show off. Got hurt so many times showing off. Just so many times. Not lucky. It's grace that I'm not dead. I should be, and I am, but not the way that. Sorry. And so I'm so excited, like I've got popcorn and soda instead of a bong and a beer. I'm not kidding, because I got high my whole life. And I'm like, it's so far gone. It's so away from me. Like, it's just done. Nothing in me at all. Like, I've been free without ever wanting to use or drink or party or twist this at all, contort this at all, distort my thinking at all. Like, at all. For 14 years. It's been so amazing. But I'm waiting for this show to come on. I'm so excited. And Will Sasso comes on, who was one of my favorite comedians, him and Chris Farley, and just they were my guys, man. I was just like, because I would pick up their stuff and I'd repeat it and make people laugh. And so he comes on in the infomercial and I'm like, and it made my stomach feel weird. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, this is like my favorite show. And I haven't been able to watch TV in Teen Challenge. And it was like lockdown. And I'm like, I'm free. And I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. So it comes on again. And all of a sudden, like in the first 2 minutes, they're making fun of somebody. And I think it was the president or something. And I felt really bad. I felt really bad. Like I hadn't felt bad because have had this joy thing going on. It's like a whole new world. My whole life has changed. And I'm like, I don't even know that this is not okay. And it was amazing. I'm like, I turned the TV off and I'm like crying. I'm like, what is wrong with me? And I remember Dan saying, it's not what's wrong, it's what's been made right. It's so crazy. It was like, oh, why am I thinking that? What is going on? That's so crazy. Because I didn't understand what you meant. But now I'm out and I'm free and I'm like, whoa. And so all of a sudden the Lord spoke to me. He said, I've given you a new heart. You can no longer laugh at other people's expense. And I sat there and I went, I'm so sorry. I'm just like, and it wasn't like I needed to beg him and tell him how sorry I was. He knew right away that my heart saw that it was wrong. There's a lot to learn in this because a lot of times people beg God to forgive them, but the reality is repentance is to change the way you think. But God sees your heart. When your heart sees that it was wrong, the Father knows that you see it's wrong. Right there, it's important that you immediately obey your conviction. Right there. So in the Christian life, what happens is as days go on, and you get in the Word and you start to see and you read Corinthians and you read 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians to this church that was moving in great gifting but had all kinds of immorality and all kinds of different things that were going wrong. And then you read these different epistles and you start to learn and understand this Christian life and the reality of what you're called to. The standard's high. You know, if you really want to know and have a couple of great chapters on the Christian life, like read Matthew 5 through 7. You read it. It's the be attitudes. It's your attitude of being once you get born again. It's who Jesus says you to be. Like, it's not your do attitudes. You can't in your own strength do this, but you can become this because he says you can. And he reads these chapters. He speaks Matthew 5 through 7. It's all red letters. It's like John G. Lake calls it the Declaration of Independence of the Bible. He says the red letters are the Supreme Court of the Bible. If you can't find it, look in the red letters. It's the Supreme Court, the Supreme Council. It's Jesus speaking. And it's just so available. It's so amazing. But it has to start with you getting past all this. Does this make sense? There's a real reason why we go after this and preach the clear gospel truth and pound this thing. Shame comes because you don't believe. Guilt comes because you don't believe you're forgiven. Condemnation comes because you don't believe the gospel. It's all because I don't believe. Like if you read Hebrews and he's talking about rest, and we'll probably touch that a little bit today. But if you see it and he says that they had an evil heart of unbelief, he's talking about unbelief itself. They didn't enter his rest because of their unbelief. It says that a rest remains for you and I right now. It says, beware lest you fall short of entering into his rest. Beware lest you fall short. Be careful lest you've fallen short. Yesterday, he who lacks these things is short-sighted and blind and has forgotten that he was purified from his sin. It's so valuable, but it's so overlooked because we're like, yeah, the blood of Jesus, I get it. But if you get it, you'll never revisit your past again. Your past will never have a voice in your future. You will never, ever, ever regret something that you wish you'd never done because you'll see that the blood has washed it away. But the devil will pinpoint this and constantly drag you into this place because he's hopeless, he's bitter, he's afraid, he's ashamed, he's totally in unforgiveness, and there's absolutely no chance for him. So he wants to defeat you in your soul. He wants to defeat you in your mind so that you can never realize that you've been given the mind of Christ. And the only way to step into the mind of Christ is to believe that the blood of Jesus has purified you from where you were. But it's not just a purification process before you get saved. It's an ongoing purification process that is constantly on the mercy seat crying out mercy. And you have Jesus as an intercessor. He is your advocate. He is your lawyer that sits beside the right hand. And he's not sitting there as God. He's sitting there as the Son of Man that can relate to everything that you're going through and everything that you've been through. And he can relate to our weaknesses. He was tempted at all points. Like the high priest on earth is nothing compared to the high priest that sits at the right hand, constantly making intercession to you, constantly bringing your life before the Father. Constantly. And if we don't believe that this is true, you have nothing. You can walk in gifting, you can walk powerful, you can prophesy crazy, amazing prophecies. But if you don't get righteousness, there will be lawlessness in your life. He says, not everybody that says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter into the kingdom. And I understand that he says, then he says to them, you know, they say, well, didn't we prophesy? Didn't we do this? And I understand, I've heard all kinds of different teaching on it. The more I look at it, I'm looking at a key because I've had a lot of people in the church think that because these guys practice prophecy, because they practice miracles, because they did this stuff, they're not going to make it into the kingdom. And they think that that's why, but that's not what he says. He said, you who practice lawlessness, you who practice sin, you who actively engaged in it and thought it was okay, and thought, to me, it looks like to you who thought that the miraculous was your ticket in. To you who thought that the miracles were your validation of my approval on your life. To you who thought that prophecy was my approval on your life. To you who thought that these mighty signs and wonders that you did were my approval on your life. And he says this crucial piece. He says, away from me, I never knew you. There's a difference between me saying that I know God and me knowing that he's actively pursuing and actively knowing me. And the only place that I can know that he knows me is when I get alone with him. When I settle what's going on through the storm. Because for some people, when they get quiet, the storm inside is way louder when stuff was way louder than when stuff was happening outside. They try to get quiet and the day is and it just keeps going and going and going. And oh my gosh, I'm just trying to get quiet with you, Lord. And all these thoughts keep coming, bombarding you. And you think, man, nothing's happening here. It's wrong. God sees us. He knows. Our intercessor beside the Father is saying, look at them positioning themselves to know me. This is amazing. Wow, you can do it. Come on, kids. Don't give up. Don't give up. I promise you, he's a good father. He sees us. He knows our weaknesses. See, in the gospel, you can't be strong. In the gospel, your weakness is a magnet for the strength of God. You can be as strong as you want in the natural, but really, grace doesn't come to the strong. It comes to the humble. Jesus said meekness. We are supposed to, when I read this word, I'm supposed to receive this word with meekness. I am supposed to receive the implanted word. Why is it implanted? Because it grows up. I am to receive this with humility, the implanted word, which is able to save my soul. It's amazing. It doesn't even say, receive with meekness the implanted word, which is able to get me out of here and get me to heaven. That's not what he's saying. He's saying, when I receive with meekness the implanted word that is able to save my mind, my will, my emotions, my mind, taking on the mind of Christ, transforming this life, not through being conformed to the world and how the church wants me to be, or how my boss wants me to be, or how my people want me to be, but being transformed by the renewing of my mind, not being conformed. That doesn't mean, not being conformed doesn't mean being in rebellion. In other words, not being conformed to this world. Because when I say about the church, people are like, yeah, I got hurt by the church. I don't want to conform to that. I don't believe in organized religion where you're going to hate heaven. Because we're supposed to be one body. We're supposed to be the bride. We are supposed to be the hands and feet of Jesus. We're supposed to be together on this thing. We're supposed to have like-minded, same mind, same spirit, one Father, Lord and Father over us all, one baptism. Come on. We're supposed to be together in this thing. I remember God spoke this to me, and I was like, there's some stuff happened, church-wise. And God said, are you willing to die for them? Because that's what my son did. And I mean, it wasn't long. I mean, I've asked him to convict me immediately. So this isn't something where he waits like for me to get into something for a month. It's like the thought comes and the Holy Ghost goes, I want that. I want him to correct me. I want him to father me. Thanks for teaching me that, bro. Because I've asked him to do it since the beginning. I need you to father me. I need you to help me. I'm struggling here, Lord. I need help. Please, Lord. And he's there right away. And he shows me in the Word. Oh my gosh. Wow, that is crazy. I can't believe I didn't see that. But he brings stern correction. Thanks for bringing that too, because that's really good. With a smile. Always with a smile. Just, man, thank you, bro. Oh, no. Ah! Woo! Okay, just talk. Okay. Well, I was brand new. I was only a year and a half in. I mean, I was a little zealous for Jesus. I just want him to have my whole life. Every second of my day, every breath that I take, every word that I say, I know that he's watching, I know that he hears, and I want him to know that I know. When he speaks to me, I want to jump. I want to. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. Someone should write a song about that. I believe the gospel. I want him to know that I believe every word that's in this book, regardless of what it is. I believe it. I receive it with meekness, the implanted word. I want my soul saved. Triune salvation, spirit, soul, and body. In Thessalonians, it says, may the God of peace sanctify you completely. Spirit, soul, and body. This thing needs fixed, man. This thing needs renewed. We need to think with the mind that he created us to think with. I love what you said about analytical thinking today. You said you just think too much about simple things. I was like, that's so easy to remember because I can't think too much about stuff. God gave me a big heart and a little brain, and I am so good with that. I am so good with that. So I remember, I was at this church, and the pastor came up to me and he goes, Todd, because like when we first meet, when you meet somebody and you start sharing your heart, they're like, oh, wow, that's so good. That's awesome. Wow, that's cool. And then, when you share your testimony, I remember approaching this pastor, amazing pastor. He had the Father's heart. I'm like, wow. And I would get permission, but I would run down and say, hey, I just want to say thank you. I just want to hug them and thank them for what they are to the body of Christ. And I ran down the hallway because the pastor said I could, and I ran down there and I went, hey, man, I just want to say thank you. And I went up and ran up on Larry Randolph one time. This wasn't the same one. This was a different pastor, but I ran up. He goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. I go, no, I just want to hug. And I was like 265. So he's like, oh, no, there's a crazy guy with dreads coming to get me. And I go, hey, I just wanted to hug you and tell you I love you. He goes, oh, okay, I'll give you a Father's blessing. Kissed me on the face and kind of looked at me like, I'm like, hey, but I got to meet him afterwards. And anyway, so this was another pastor. And I go, I just want to say thank you, man. Man, I was delivered out of so much stuff. And he goes, oh, okay, that's awesome. And I started sharing my testimony. And when I started to share certain points of it, he looked at me and he goes, oh, wow, okay. And I could tell that I lost him. I could tell that when I shared certain things like the Masons and being raised by the Masons, I could tell that something wasn't right, to where my testimony of being free wasn't valid. And I'm not faulting anybody. I'm just explaining some stuff. Are you guys okay? Can you hear me right? You have an ear to hear, because I'm not faulting anybody. This isn't anybody's fault. It's just when I shared some certain things, people are taught certain things about this or that, and there has to be certain things that have to be done in order to get this out. And there has to be a method of this or a formula of this, and I didn't know any of that. All I did was I met Dan, and I heard what you heard today, all the time. And I would go, oh, man. And then Jesus set me free, and I'm like, it happened, man, I'm free. I'm like, oh. And I'm crying on the way home. I told you yesterday, and I go home to church that day and meet the elders, and it didn't go over well. But it didn't take away my salvation. It didn't take away the truth of me being free. It was amazing. So now I'm a year and a half into this thing, and I meet this pastor, and he's like, man, okay, great. Hey, it's so nice to meet you. What's your name again? And I told him, and he goes, all right, thank you. You go to church here? I said, yep, this is my church. He goes, all right, thank you. So that day, that conference was over, and I remember going up the following Sunday, and the pastor took me aside. He goes, Todd? He goes, can we talk? I said, yeah, man, you know. He goes, yeah. He goes, hey, I just wanted to just talk to you a little bit. I'm like, what happened? Because I knew something was wrong. You could tell something's wrong. He goes, well, we actually, we know that you're really growing fast, and, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And I've been told that before, but I can't find it anywhere in that word. I can't. I don't know it. I actually talked to you about it. And you said, no, it's a race. You run. And you run with Jesus. And you go for it. And you love Jesus with all your heart. And you spend time with the Father. Best thing, I think everything he told me is the best thing, but this is one of them. Like the 100 things I love the best, my favorite scripture. When I came to you and said, when there was all the talk about spiritual dads, and I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. Because they said, someone at the church said, you need a spiritual father. I go, it's Dan. Okay. No, I'm actually supposed to be your spiritual father. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so. And I got approached by another person, and he told me, I need to father you. And I'm like, no way. And he said, why not? I said, because I've never seen you love people. And I wasn't being mean. I honestly said that, and it made him really mad. But I wasn't trying to make him mad. I've never seen love in you, so I can't have you father me. But I'll learn from you, and I'll keep coming to class and listening. And I was already marked, but it's okay. And so I remember, I'm so excited. I'm like, okay, I had 3 people. Obviously, it's confirmation. I'm messing up. And I said to Dan, I said, you know what, bro? A couple people came up to me and asked me, they're supposed to be my father, spiritual father, but there's you're my spiritual dad. And you go, and real politely, Dan goes, I think that's awesome. It's an honor that you would want me to, to be your spiritual father. But honestly, Todd, in the Bible, it says, call no one on earth your father. And I'm like, yeah, but it says you have many teachers, but few fathers. We've had some great conversations over the years. It's like a reunion right now. I don't know. My heart's so pliable. Squeeze me. Okay. And so Dan said, it says, call no one on earth your father. And I said, okay. I said, but there's all this talk about spiritual fathers. He goes, I know, and it's great. But a spiritual father will push you into the arms of your heavenly Father. He said, here's why. And this is the example he used, which was amazing. He said, Todd, suppose I'm in the meeting and you really need me and you call me on the phone and I can't answer the phone. If I can't answer the phone, you might for a second think that you're an orphan because your spiritual father didn't answer. And I went, oh man. Okay, well then you're my mentor. I just switched over because that's the next best thing, right? can't be my spiritual father, you can be my mentor. He said, Todd, I can't imitate him, but I'm trying. He said, Todd, he says, the Bible said you have one teacher, the Christ. He said, if the Holy Spirit doesn't become your mentor and your teacher, and God doesn't become your father, and that only happens in the secret place. You need to seek God when no one's looking. I'm going to pray for you, but this is what you need to do. And then he didn't say he wouldn't help me. He said, you can glean from me. I can help you. I can pour into you. But you have to seek God on your own. And you have to go after him with everything you are. And you're doing a great job. Keep going for it. Like, you know, because I was devouring the word. I never read before. So this book was like, it's just filling me up. Like, it's awesome. And so I learned from Dan that God's my dad and the Holy Spirit's my teacher. What does that mean? That means that there's a lot of teachers, and we have fivefold gift of teachers, so we don't want to neglect the fivefold gift. However, if you don't have intimacy and don't have relationship with the Father, you will be swayed by every wind of doctrine that comes in. And you can be moved by this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and you will read book after book after book to gain more revelation, and you will always ride on someone else's revelation instead of feeding for yourself. Because God really doesn't want us to be an echo. He wants us to be a voice. But that doesn't mean that you can't share the same things that somebody that's poured into your life shared, but it needs to become yours so that you can be a voice and trumpet who you are, not what you know, and not what you're learning. It's so powerful. It only comes through relationship and through intimacy. So as I'm sitting with this pastor, he says to me, Todd, he goes, we realize, I know you've shared your testimony before, and I was a little concerned, and we know you're growing, and he was really nice about it. He goes, listen, he goes, I feel, and others have kind of come to me and talked to me, and I knew who it was. I knew it was the pastor that I tried to share my heart with, and when I said Masonic homes, Masons, witchcraft, like, oh my gosh, there's things that need to be removed. Hooks, things. And I was like, I had no grid for it. I didn't understand. He goes, well, I mean, what we can do is we can go back and we can remove things that are there. I go, well, what's there? Honestly, I was totally ignorant, had no idea, no clue. He goes, well, there's programs out there that can help you get free from things that you came out of. I said, but if I came out of it, why would I need to be free from it? And I wasn't being mean or arguing. And I said, wait a minute. I said, what about old things passing away and all things becoming new? And I'm a new creation. That new creation means a brand new creature that's never been on the earth before. Like, that's what it means. It means that I'm brand new all the way through. Not just like my spirit man. Like, everything. Like, I'm brand new. Like, no one's seen this before. My family can attest to that, I promise you. They're like, oh, we don't even know who we are. But I said, why wouldn't I believe the blood of Jesus cleansed me and set me free? Why wouldn't I believe that right standing means that I've been made right with God? And if God is for me, who could be against me? And if greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world, how could the world have any effect on me if greater is he that's in me? My Bible says he doesn't share houses, that he took up residence in me, and he doesn't share occupancy with someone. What if I believe that? And he said, Todd, not everybody believes that. And I go, okay, but since I do, I said, time will tell whether I'm free. I said, well, I love you, but why would I go back into something that he says is gone? Like the Bible says it's gone. He said, well, we just wanted to offer our help. I go, okay. He was real nice about it. And I came to Dan. I go, Dan, what was that? Dan goes, don't worry about it. Just be free. I'm like, okay. And it was really amazing. And I'm like, it's never creeped back up on me. Like, gosh, I'm not trying to make fun of something. I'm trying to make the most of something. I'm not making fun of anything. I'm not pointing the finger at anybody. I'm telling you that there's a better way. His name is Jesus. You can either go around the mountain or you can go straight up. You can wander around or you can step in. You don't have to be on the wrong side. The cross, the finished work. We are going to stand before God and you're going to find out that it really was finished. You're going to stand before God and realize that he really did cleanse you. You're going to find out that the blood was really heaven's answer. God knew the dilemma and his son was the answer. But now that the answer has come, and in the past God spoke to the fathers by the prophets, but in these last days he has spoken to us by his son. When are we going to believe that what he spoke, he did speak, and what he said is never going to be changed? And the new thing that he did, he did. It's still the new thing. It's not an old thing. It's the same thing. It's the new thing. Behold, I will do a new thing. Their sins and their lawless deeds I will remember no more. That's what God says. I can't stress this enough because I meet overwhelming majorities of Christians that can't get past what they wish they'd never done or what they wish was never done to them. This is like a huge trumpet of freedom because you do not have to look back. Rear view Christianity is illegal in the kingdom. Okay. When I share this stuff, lots of quiet happens. Lots of thoughts happen. They send me emails. I throw them in the trash. I actually don't get them. Tom gets them. Yeah. Dan gets the phone calls, though. How many phone calls have you had about that, buddy? You don't get But you've told me about many conversations that you've had with many people that were highly offended because we talk about this. Do you remember the one, we were at Andrew Womack's Bible College. We were doing Power and Love out there. And I was just sharing my testimony and sharing how God set me free. And that lady was out there, oh yeah, well then why? And she's in the middle of the message, like lifting up her hand. She's interrupting the message. And she's not being mean. She's just, I got lots of questions. Like, because she's been in trouble for a long time. And she's been through satanic ritual abuse, all kinds of stuff. Oh yeah, well then, okay, well, and I'm like just sharing, and she probably asked 10 questions in the middle of service. Like it's not normal. One time it's not normal. 10 times people are like getting agitated. But all she's doing is crying out for truth. All she's saying is, I really need help. This is crazy. And so we ended the night, and she came up and said, thank you so much. She's crying. The next morning, I was greeted by her pastor. Came in, and I was teaching in the morning, and the pastor came in, and she goes, you're Todd, right? I go, yeah. She goes, yeah. She told me what you shared last night. I go, all I did was share my testimony. She goes, yep. She said, you shared righteousness. I said, absolutely. She goes, well, not everybody believes that. I said, whoa. I said, did she tell you all that I shared? She goes, yep. She says she's free. I said, that's awesome. She goes, she's not free. I've been working with her for 7 years every week, and she has been coming to me every week for 7 years. She comes to one meeting with some hotshot preacher, and now she thinks she's free. You're not free, honey. And I looked at her and I said, honey, you're in sin right now. You're telling her that she can't be free, and you're a pastor. I said, God have mercy on you. I wasn't being mean. We can't do that. Why would you do that? Here she'd been paying every week for 7 years to get free. The lady goes, I don't know why. Why can't I be free? Why is she sad? I said, honey, I got to go speak. I love you. She goes, oh, I'm sitting and listening to you today. Boy, I had to be careful on how I shared. Because I don't want to project at her and come at her and say, you're wrong and I'm right. Listen to this. I got a microphone. I did that one time, and Dan was there. It's true. I learned a valuable lesson. I watched Dan's smile go like this. First time in my life. I never saw anything like it. I'm sharing, and I think that I'm right. But I didn't really know, and it was not right. Dan goes, don't you ever do that again. I went, what did I do? He's like, you projected from the pulpit to prove your point. You preach the gospel. You preach the truth. The truth will set people free. It hit me. We need correction, man. We need it. We need it. Gosh, I've opened up so much. I'm just being vulnerable, just talking. This is it. We need correction. We need people that can speak into our life, that we trust, that we see Jesus in their life. So many people don't want correction. They don't want it. You read Hebrews 13, buddy. Read Hebrews 12. God says, don't despise the chastening. That's the instruction of the Lord. Don't despise it. It's good. But I want God to correct me. I want him to father me. I want him to say, this is not okay. If I'm not okay, I want him to tell me so that I don't need somebody else to tell me. But if someone sees something that I don't see and I see Jesus in their life, I need to honor that, take it to the Lord and say, God, I love you. I want to always keep my hands clean, my heart pure. I want to keep my eyes clear. I want to be able to see. I want to be able to know and hear his voice. I don't want to try to preach some doctrine to make me look special. No, I want freedom, man. I want the body of Christ to be free. I want us to be able to receive correction. I want us to be able to have mothers and fathers that will speak into our life. But I don't have the need to say I'm a father or just, it's a weird thing because I want to be able to do that. But I believe that just like Dan fathered me in a way where he said, I can't be your spiritual father in the way that you're thinking, but I can help you and glean from you. And I can push you closer to the Father. And I can help you. And that help, part of that help is correction. Part of that help is asking questions. And if you're wrong, boom. I just called Bill Johnson the other day. I had a question about something. He goes, well, man, he goes, you're really hungry. And I think it's amazing. He said, but your conclusion is totally wrong. And I went, oh, tell me. And he's like, and he shared it. It was just something really little, but it was so big if it got to hear. It was beautiful. I'm like, man, thank you. And it was like, freedom. It was just amazing. But we have to be open for that. You have to be vulnerable, and you have to be teachable, and you have to have Holy Spirit be your mentor, and you have to have God be your father, and you have to believe the gospel. You have to live with a clean conscience and have the blood wash you clean. You have to have the blood purify you from all that stuff. You have to believe the blood. It's constant. It's every day. His mercy is new today. I woke up, and his mercy woke me up today. Every day. He's not mad at me. He's not bummed out with me. He loves me, and his gaze is constantly on me, and he never looks away, and he's always saying, I see you. I'm serious. I think a thought. I see that thought. I dream a dream. I see the dream. I see the vision. I saw the way you corrected your kids. I see the way that you want me to help you correct your kids. I see that you want to model me before your kids. That's awesome. Here's how you do it. Oh, that's hard. I know. But it's great. It's good. It's the Christian life. It's growing in your character with God. See, if I don't grow in my character with God, if I don't grow in the fruits of the Spirit, and I press so much into the gifts of the Spirit, I can press in and I can earnestly desire the spiritual gifts, which is amazing, especially that you might prophesy, it says. Just earnestly desire. He says, yet I show you a better way, and that better way is love. And Dan really does a great job of nailing that thing down. And 1 Corinthians 13 is impossible without Jesus. It's impossible. Patience is impossible without Jesus. Being like perfect and complete, lacking nothing is impossible without Jesus, because patience is the answer to being perfect and complete, lacking nothing. And you can't get the patience unless you go through trials. And people hate trials. They want an easy life. No. You're going to hit trials. You might as well learn how to face it with Jesus. We don't just need the gifts and press into the miraculous. God will flow through your life on a constant basis. But man, the fruit of the Spirit is amazing. Fruit is grown and gifts are given. Gifts are freely given by God, but fruit is grown. And when you grow that fruit, the same fruit, self-control, patience, all the stuff that I read yesterday on that list, plus the list that's in Galatians 4. I mean, when we have the list of the fruit of the Spirit, love, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, meekness, self-control, it is amazing. And we need to have that, because if we don't have that, we grieve
The Spirit. So we need to press into a place to where righteousness abounds. Righteousness abounds. We put on the new man of righteousness, holiness, and truth. We put on this. We look at Philippians and we see, put your mind on these things, things that are noble, things that are pure, things that are lovely, things that are of good report. We need that stuff. It's so solid. It's so beautiful because we can't afford to be this gifted, amazing people that has no character in their life. And we can't afford to press into legalism because we think that by legalism we're going to get character. And if we have this character, then we're okay with God. God didn't just want you to walk in character. He wanted you to be powerful. And he didn't just want you to be powerful. He wanted you to walk in character. He wanted you to look like Jesus. Powerfully, full of character, integrity, passion. But we have to believe the cross to get any of it. Well, not really. I've seen people that don't believe the cross but walk in great power. See, when I see what the blood has done for me, when I see it, and I receive the love of God, I don't have to receive my identity through someone's praise because I did a miracle. When I see how much he loves me, that is payment enough. When I see his love, when I see the reality of what he did for me and what he always does for me and what he thinks about me, when I see that he has more thoughts for me than there are grains of sand in the whole world, and every thought is for my welfare. When I see that he knit me inside my mother's womb, whether my mom wanted me there or not. When I see that he knit me there, whether I was born through this or born through that, or whether my mom rejected me, neglected me, whether my mom said statements like, I can't believe I'm pregnant, we can't afford this. What are we doing? I can't believe this. What are we going to do? I wish this never happened. When all those statements are made, the scripture never changes. God knit me inside my mother's womb. All life comes from God. So no matter what she thought or my dad thought, none of that matters, because when I get born again, I'm refathered. I have a brand new dad, and he thinks differently of me than my earthly mom or dad did. So my DNA changes. I have been given the divine nature of Abba. When I get born again, I have the divine nature in which I'm partakers of the precious promises. And then all those things that were said about me or done to me don't matter because I have a brand new dad. So my bloodline changes. So no generational curse makes it through the new bloodline of Jesus. Everything shifts and everything changes. That's not just a theory, that's the reality of what I've been born into. I've been born again, which means refathered. I've got a brand new dad, but if I don't get to know my new dad, then my old dad can affect me and my old mom can affect me. But when I meet my new dad, then I'm not mad at my earthly dad or my earthly mom because what they did, they didn't know what they were doing, so I can forgive them. Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. Yeah, but you don't know how they treated me, but you don't know how you treated Jesus. People are like, yeah, but you don't understand. My wife cheated on me. She cheated on me. Well, when's the last time you cheated on God? When's the last time you played the harlot with the world? When's the last time you had an affair with the world? Not in a sexual way, just with your intimate way. Instead of being intimate with him, you were intimate with the world. It's a good thing God doesn't think like we think. It's a good thing God thought like he thinks. Oh, woo! So good. Man, when God came into my life, I was so mad at my mom because she put me in a children's home. I was out of control, man. My dad left, I freaked out. I remember a couple days after my dad left, I was up in my room, we had vinyl records. I had all these vinyl records. I took every record and threw it against my plaster wall and chipped every piece of every bit of my wall all around my room. I could care less. Didn't matter. That's just the beginning, man. I was a wild child. I was like, I lost it. I was so mad at my mom, man. She only did what she knew best to do. She only did what she could do. She had an offer that they could take care of your son because I was out of control. My mom was working 3 jobs trying to take care of the family. She couldn't do it. So they offered to pay for me. So the Masonic homes, they paid for me. No one had to pay anything. They paid for me. They gave me an education. I'm up there. I didn't know cult stuff. I didn't have any idea. I didn't care about any of that stuff. I broke into their temple. I didn't care. It's like, whatever, dude. Put on their hats. Woo! Have fun. Who cares? I started getting high at 11 years old. I didn't care about anything. Me, myself, and I had no idea. I was so angry at everybody else. It was always someone else's fault because that's what sin does. That's what that life does. It'd be a real shame if we became Christians and it was still always someone else's fault and we never took ownership over stuff. Adam says to God, come on, did you eat the tree? And I'm like, well, you made the woman. If you wouldn't have made her, I wouldn't have ate the tree. Sin always makes you blame somebody else. Never makes you take ownership. Ever. Eve, is this true? God knew it was true. Eve's like, well, the snake deceived me. You made the snake. They blame God. Craziness, man. And I blamed everybody else. But when Jesus came, all that stuff, all that, my mom rejected me, my dad neglected me. Everybody hated me. People touched me wrong when I was a little kid. This, that, and the other thing. All that stuff went out the window, man. Because I realized I was the issue. The gospel sets you free from you so that you can be free from the world. You don't have to have a problem with everybody else. People are like, well, you don't know what they did to me. Look, if you got a problem with them, and them, it's not them, it's you. It's you. You're the issue. Get over you. Yeah, but you don't know what they did to me. It's you. You're not going to stand before God and say it was them. He's going to say it was you. And you're going to be on your face for 1,000 years in a puddle of mush. It was me. I'm not kidding, man. You got a problem with your neighbor? It's not them, it's you. You can't love your neighbor, then your neighbor can hurt you. If you love your neighbor, they can't hurt you. And you can't love your neighbor unless you love yourself, and you can't love yourself unless you believe the gospel. I don't know how you get out of this or why you'd want to get out of this. Why don't you just jump in and say yes? Remember yesterday, you're screaming out, show us how. I'm trying, man. It's the same thing over and over and over and over again. It's the blood of Jesus, man. It's the freedom that only he brings. Let me just read a section of scripture here that I told you I'd read. I'm getting better, dude. I was as long as you to get to it. That's like 30 minutes. I want to read the whole chapter. It's so good. Are you ready? Wow. Therefore, whoops, now I got to read 7. Because if it's there, you got why it's therefore. If you see therefore, you got to go, oh my gosh, what was there before? I got to know why it's there for. Maybe Dan will hit Romans 7. You will hit Romans 7, won't you? This is so fun. See, it's joy, but man, it's intense. It's like, ha, 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 ha. Oh. What was that? I don't know. Oh, God, that's funny. Oh. And then all of a sudden you wake up. Oh. Wow. Oh, my gosh. I see you in there. For real? Jesus, I see you in there. Oh, that's true. I look in the mirror, that's what I see. Him. He likes to live in me. He chose me. I don't care if you choose me or not, he did. Like, come on, we grow up, pick me. You're the last one. Man, I'm always the last one. No, that's not the gospel. You're the first one. Thank you, Lord, for picking me. I picked you before the foundation of the world. I don't understand that. Let's just start with you knitting me in my mother's womb, because I get that. I believe you. On the other part, it's just way deeper than you knit me in my mom's womb. Do you know how many people I talk to that are so hurt because their mom did not want them? Do you know how many people I talk to because somebody told them that your mom didn't want you when you were in the womb, and so now we have to break rejection off of you? How dare you say that to people? What are we doing? Do we really want to pull tears that much out of somebody to tell them what they're not? Do we really want to start there? Do we really need to feel important by telling somebody something that they're not? Or we guess at just to pull an emotional response? To bring people back into a place to where they believe that that's the reason why they are the way they are? Why can't we reap what Jesus sowed? I'm not being mean. I'm telling you that it's not okay to tell people that. Oh my. Ooh, that was heavy. Ooh, wow. I have turned into a case here. I'm a case for Christ. Yeah, wow. Okay, I'm just going to share from verse 1. We'll be okay. Go back and read 7. But before you read 7, read 5. And then read 6. And then read 7 in the light of him talking to people that are trying to get right with God through the law. Read 5, how you have peace with God because you've been justified by faith. You have peace with God. Read it. Go to 6, you're dead. You just are dead. Buried with him in baptism. Let sin no longer have dominion over you because you have surrendered and given your life to Christ. Read 7 in the light of the context it was written. I write to those that know the law. Where he is trying to relate to Jewish brothers and sisters that are trying to obey the law for right standing with God. And he said, even though I know what to do, I do those things that I shouldn't. Basically saying there's no way for me to live this way and get it right. Who shall save me from this wretch that I am? Thank God, Jesus Christ. And then in Romans 7, he goes from the law to Romans 8 in the Spirit. And he goes through in the gospel and what Jesus has done. And he starts in Romans 8 with that. So when you read 5, 6, 7, and 8, you'll get a context for what it's shared. And you won't look at Romans 7 as a scapegoat to remain bound. Therefore, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Oh my. Now I'm reading the New American Standard. So it takes a part of that scripture out because it says in the original text that for those who do not live according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. It says, for the law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus has set you free from the law of sin and death. So you hear the freedom here. There's therefore no condemnation for those that are in Christ Jesus. Moses was given the ministry engraved on stones, the ministry of condemnation that had glory. We've been given the ministry of righteousness that has much more glory. You with me? It's kind of relating this, it is relating the same thing. For what the law could not do, because it was weak as it was through the flesh, God did in sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh as an offering for sin. He condemned sin in the flesh. So powerful. So he says in Romans 7, it's sin in me that's doing it. But Jesus came to condemn sin in us from functioning. This is all about mind renewal in God, not just because of memorization, because faith doesn't come by reading, faith comes by hearing. So as we read, we need communion, but there's something that clears up communion. And communion gets cleared up when the muddy past gets erased and the reality of a clean conscience gets completely renewed because the blood of Jesus cleanses us from dead works, cleanses our conscience from dead works so that we can serve the living God. You guys okay? So that the requirement of the law might be fulfilled in us who do not walk according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. For those who are according to the flesh set their minds on the things of the flesh. In other words, they set their mind on the carnal nature. They set their mind on carnality and the things of this world, gratifying you, all the stuff that Dan was saying we shouldn't do, and more. But you're praying for me, fleshly concerns, carnal concerns. You are not a carnal and a spirit man. You are a spirit man that has flesh. Do you know that Jesus says that you have become flesh of his flesh and bone of his bone once you become one with God? What do? Do you say that now my flesh that's of his flesh is sinful? No, it's the way that seems right to a man that produces that sinful life. James says, look, it says that no one can say that God is tempting him or he's tempted by God, for God cannot tempt, nor can God be tempted. But each one is led away by his own lusts and desires from within. What does that mean? That means that each one sins because he's led away by his lusts and desires. I read yesterday in Peter that you've been delivered from the lust, from the corruption of lust that's in the world. So the corruption of lust that's in the world is there when you think according to the way that seems right to a man and not according to righteousness in the way that is right to God. So the unrenewed mind can't think about anything but carnality. There's nothing there. We need to give dominion to the Spirit of God so that our spirit can tell our flesh to shut up and sit down and listen. But the way you do that is being renewed in the spirit of your mind and you setting your mind on the things of the Spirit and not of the things of the world. Oh, gosh. I never feel like I get anywhere, but I get somewhere, but I don't know. There's so much in here, and it's a constantly unfolding revelation. God's word is it's like a flower. It just keeps going. It's just so good. Those who are according to the flesh set their mind on the things of the flesh, but those who are according to the Spirit, to the things of the Spirit. For the mind set on the flesh is death, but the mind set on the Spirit is life and peace. Because the mind set on the flesh is hostile towards God. It's at war against God. Now, Romans 5 says that we've been justified by faith. We have peace with God. Where does peace with God sit? In your heart or in your mind? Both. The war against God is in your mind. Your mind, any place that the mind's not renewed tries to fight against God. So it's a constant renewal process, asking God to breathe on the word so that you don't be conformed to the world, the system of the world, but you be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And God can breathe upon the word, make it alive and active in your life, and he separates your soul from your spirit. So what he does is the first place that God comes to do is he separates your spirit man from your soul. So the Holy Spirit and my spirit, I read it in 1 Corinthians 2, how he communes with the Spirit. The Spirit knows the deep things of God. Your spirit knows the deep things of you. And all of a sudden, those two, they come together and start to train your soul. But if you never get into the secret place, open your Bible and ask God to renew your mind, this process gets put off and put off and put off and put off. Because we think that we have to know it all when we get alone with him. But we don't have to know it all. That's why you're getting alone with him. So when we get alone with him, we ask him to do this. What he does is he wants to way more than you want it. He wants you to think with the mind of Christ instead of the mind of man. He has given you something that the prophets in the past, they prophesied about this day to come. They couldn't have it, and now we have what they couldn't have. They rejoiced in what they saw. We have it, and we're sad about something we don't understand we have. Did that make sense? They rejoiced because they saw that we were going to receive this righteousness apart from the law, imputed to us. They saw the reality of no condemnation being available because the law would have been fulfilled by Jesus. And the blood of Jesus on the mercy seat cleanses our conscience from dead works to serve God. You never have to look past. Your past doesn't exist in the eyes of the Father. But if the enemy can get you to spin around and look, you can't steer forward because he who puts his hands to the plow, looking back, isn't fit for the kingdom. Why? Because there is no looking back in the kingdom. However, you are not in the flesh, but you are in the Spirit. If indeed the Spirit of God dwells in you, if anyone does not have the Spirit of Christ, he does not belong to him. But if Christ is in you, though the body is dead because of sin, yet the Spirit is alive because of righteousness. But if the Spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead dwells in you, he who raised Christ from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies through his Spirit who dwells within you. This is not just for the miraculous. Looky here. The same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead dwells in you. It is not just for the miraculous to happen through you. It's for healing for your physical body. It is for the renewal of your mind, because the Spirit that's within you is the one that renews this thing. And your mind is part of your mortal body. He will quicken your mind. He will quicken your soul. He will quicken every part of you if you just let him and believe him. I wish you guys knew me in school before Jesus. You would be like, boy, did he really do a great job on you. Wow. So then, brethren, we are under no obligation, not to the flesh, to live according to the flesh. For if you are living according to the flesh, you must die. But if by the Spirit, by the dominion of the Spirit, by the Holy Spirit and your spirit, by the communion that you have with the Holy Spirit, the love of the Father, the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, and communion with the Holy Ghost, if you are living by that, you will put to death the deeds of the body, you will live. For all who are being led by the Spirit of God, these are sons of God. It's so important to know that God's your Father and you've been adopted by him. If you have not received the spirit of slavery, or for you have not received the spirit of slavery leading to fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption as sons, by which we cry out, Abba, Father! The Spirit himself testifies with our spirit that we are children of God. We are children of God. And if children, then heirs of God and fellow heirs of Christ, if indeed we suffer with him, so that we may be glorified with him. For I consider that the sufferings of this present time aren't even worthy to be compared with the glory that is to be revealed to us. For the anxious longing of creation waits eagerly for the revelation of the sons of God. For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it, Adam, in hope that creation itself also will be set free from its slavery, corruption, into the freedom of the glory of the children of God. For we know that the whole earth groans and suffers pains of childbirth together until now. Creation is groaning for you to manifest your Father. Creation is groaning. People that you're walking by are crying out. The way they're crying out. See, sometimes we think that creation groans, oh, God, show us Jesus, but it's not. I go up to a guy at a gym. He looks at me, I tell me you got Jesus underneath all that mass, bro. I always do, the big guys, tattooed. Tell me there's Jesus in there. I don't believe in him. He's like, oh, I'm like, oh, you're groaning, bro. Oh. Get out of my face, I hate you. Oh, you're groaning. He's groaning for me to manifest the one and only true God. And the only way I can manifest him is if I know that I'm adopted by him. And the Spirit of God is inside of me crying out, Abba! Father! Daddy God! People are angry. I hate you! I hate you! Oh, you're groaning. Don't tell them that. But they are. They are groaning. See, when someone treats you like that, they want you to manifest the Father because they've never seen it. They've seen all the other responses. All of them. All the other responses. I'm talking to a Muslim the other day in the gym, and he's like, he's hammering me. But he's hammering me with not truth. So he's, well, I believe this, and I believe that, and I believe this. And I can't even talk to him because he just, and the Quran says this, and this, and that, and the other thing. I'm like, I am just done with debate. I'm not a debater. I'm not good at it. I don't want to be good at it. I'm just like, wow. And God says, ask him if someone came in here to put a bullet in his head. Ask him if he would jump in front of you like you would jump in front of him. So I said, man, dude, I just heard this in my heart. What? I said, if someone came in here and held a gun to you, would you expect me to jump in front of you? Because I would. But could I expect you to jump in front of me and save my life? Well, well, what I believe is that family is this, and I believe that family comes first. I didn't ask you about family. And he says, yes, but in the Quran we believe. I said, no. If somebody was going to kill me, would you jump in front of me to save my life? Would you lay down your life for me? He says, I can't say that I would. I said, that's the difference, man. See, I would lay down my life for you because I know where I'm going. Do you really know where you're going? He said, I can't answer that. I said, I love you, man. It's so nice to talk to you today. He's like, it was a shaken thing. Not only this, but we also ourselves having the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves grown within ourselves, waiting eagerly for our adoption as sons, the redemption of our body, when we go to be with Jesus. For in hope we have been saved, but that hope that is seen is not hope. For who hopes for what he already sees? But if we hope for what we do not see, with perseverance we wait eagerly for it. In the same way, the Spirit also helps us in our weakness, for we do not know how to pray as we should, for the Spirit himself intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. And he who searches the hearts knows what the mind of the Spirit is, because he intercedes for the saints according to the will of God. Hey, called you a saint again. That's amazing. We know that God causes all things to work together for good for those that love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. For those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to become conformed to the image of his Son. The Christian life is not to get stuff. The Christian life is not to pray for things. The Christian life is to be conformed to the image of his Son. The Christian life is to be an imitator of God, dear children, and walk in love, even as Christ loved us. Wow, it's in there. What shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? He who did not spare his Son, but delivered him over for us, how will he not also freely give us all things? Who will bring a charge against God's elect? God is the one who justifies. If God justified me, why am I listening to charges of the enemy? Who is he who condemns? The devil, because he's condemned. Jesus Christ is he who died, yes, rather who was raised, who is at the right hand of God, who also intercedes for us. Who will separate us from the love of Christ? Will tribulation, will distress, will persecution, will famine or nakedness or peril or sword? Just as it is written, for your sake we are being put to death all day long, for we are considered as sheep to be slaughtered. But in all these things we are overwhelmingly conquered. We overwhelmingly conquer through him who loved us. How do we conquer? Through him who loved us. We are more than conquerors. What does that even mean? I mean, I know it means that like we're conquerors, but we're more than. Why? Because Jesus conquered hell, death, and the grave. And when you see the reality of who you've been created in the image of and whose nature you've actually become partakers of, you have conquered hell, death, and the grave. Because you're never going to die. You'll put off this tent. But death, where is your sting? It has nothing in you. Fear loses its grip because the perfect love of God casts out all fear. None can remain. Don't take back on you that yoke of slavery, that fear bondage, because the devil's petrified. Because one day it's over. It's going to be over. His fate is finished. It's sealed. There's no chance for him to repent. He's done. And he wants to take your mind and twist it. He can't come up into heaven and dethrone God. He tried. He came up there, tried to rise above, and God said, no. And he put him here. And then he created man in his image. Because God loves it when his creation steps on the devil's neck and reminds him every day, you messed up big time. So the devil thought, I can steal, kill, and destroy. He sees the first Adam. He deceives him. He takes the keys. Jesus comes. He doesn't know about Jesus. He has no idea there'll be a resurrection. He doesn't know. All he knows is he's healing. Everybody the devil oppresses, Jesus heals. Everybody's oppressed by the devil, Jesus heals. Oppression by the devil, Jesus heals. He has to get rid of him. He has to take him out. If he takes him out, he's rid of it because all he knows how to do is steal, kill, and destroy. It's done. It's finished. If I kill him, it's over. Come on. And they tried to and they couldn't. They tried to and they couldn't. And he tried to and they couldn't. For 3.5 years, he tormented the devil, tormented him. And then Jesus let him pluck his beard out. He let him crown him with thorns. He let him mutilate his flesh. He let him rip his flesh off his body. He laid his life down. No one took it from him. He laid his life down freely. He laid it down. Boy, if the devil knew. If he only knew, he knows now, but if he knew then, he never would have done it. Because all he knows how to do is steal, kill, destroy, steal, kill, destroy, steal, kill, destroy. We got him now. We got him now. We got him now. We got him now. The devil, I can just imagine him surrounding the cross that day, looking at him. Everybody's taunting. Bring yourself down off of there. The devil's like, he can't. He has no idea that love is up there. He has no idea. He has no idea that he's playing into the hand of God. He has no idea. Way more into the hand of God than he has any idea about. Oh, I love it. It's amazing. Jesus, Father, forgive them. The devil's never seen anything like it. They know not what they do. See, the devil doesn't know that because he's selfish. He's self-centered. He's full of envy. He wishes that he never messed up. He wishes he could have it again. He can't have it. He's hopeless. He's cut off forever. He can never have it again. He can't repent. He wishes he could repent. So he wants to stop you from thinking that you can. He wishes that he wasn't hopeless. So he wants to create in you hopelessness. He wishes that he could be forgiven, but he can never be forgiven. So he wants you to think that you're not forgiven. Because he knows that the key to loving much is being forgiven much. He knows if he can shut down the reality of you believing you're forgiven, you can never really become love. Because in the measure that you forgive is the measure that you can love. And the only way to really love is to believe that you're fully forgiven because you're supposed to fully be loved. So he's watching Jesus. He's watching him fade. He's seeing his breath being taken away. He sees him on the cross. Doesn't even look like Jesus. He's unrecognizable. On that tree, you can't recognize him. Underneath that mutilated body is Jesus, and you can't even recognize him. It says that you couldn't even see him because of his visage. So Jesus, who knew no sin, he became sin on the tree. See, the devil didn't know that he was becoming sin. The devil just saw he's wiped out. See, we were created in God's image, but we took on the very nature of God's enemy. So we didn't even look like what we were created to look like. We didn't look like God's kids anymore. We looked like the devil. So what Jesus did was he became unrecognizable so that we could become recognizable. So Jesus, who knew no sin, became sin so that I could be recognizable and become right with God. But the devil didn't know that. He thought, yeah, Jesus said, it is finished. And the veil and darkness and rocks and saints. Oh. Woo. I guarantee you he had a clue something was wrong. I didn't rip the veil. Nevertheless. And Jesus went, it said in Psalms 88, it says that he descended to Sheol and went and paid the price for humanity. See, because it wasn't done there, he had to go and pay the price. And so he goes and pays the price, and the devil's having a field day. Yeah! Oh, get him, boys! And Jesus, emancipated, emaciated, in hell, paid the price for mankind. And the devil thought, yeah! I love it. The example that you gave when I was first born again, and I saw you say this, it was like on the third day, and the Holy Ghost was coming in. When he came in and he didn't say, Gabriel, get my front, Michael, get my back, I'm going in. Now be careful, there's devils everywhere. And I'm in the service listening, I'm going, oh my gosh. Ooh. No, it wasn't like that. It was like this. Light lit up darkness. Oh, woo. And the Holy Ghost has these keys with him. called the keys to hell, death, and the grave. The keys to hell itself, death and the grave. Revelation 1:18. He says, come on. Here you go. Let's get out of here. Oh, the devil's like, "Rah!" And all the little imps are like, no, what do we do? Oh no, boss, what's going to happen? I just believe it. I can see it. And it's true. Satan called a huddle that day. And he says, guys, settle down. Settle down. See, what Satan can't do is come up to heaven and kick God off the throne. But he is fully convinced that he can come into your soul and dethrone Jesus from ever sitting here. He wants you to have a form of God, but deny the power thereof. He wants you to go to church, but do nothing with it. He wants you to be a passive Christian and never share your faith because you really don't believe that you're forgiven and you can't work up the boldness. When all you have to know is that you've been completely forgiven and your sin and your lawless deeds have been wiped out and God remembers them no more. And when the devil tries to remind you of who you're not, you just thank God for who you are and you keep moving forward. The devil says, guys, get together, come on. Guys, we can't dethrone God. We tried. That's why we're here. And now we killed the Son of God. We killed innocent blood. The covenant is over. Wait a minute. Oh, this will be easy. Guys, we can do this. Look, man's a pushover. They fall for anything. All we have to do is whisper. All we have to do is tell them who they're not. Guys, this is going to be easy. All we're going to do is get men self-focused, self-centered, full of envy. Come on, full of jealousy, full of rage, full of anger. It'll be easy. All we have to do is touch them, touch their family. Come on, touch their finances. Oh, we got it. It's easy. They'll blame God anyway, just like that first Adam did. All we have to do is touch him. Guys, listen, this is not going to be complicated. Look, now that this has happened, we only have a short time. We have to run deception. On the count of 3, we break and we go deceive the world. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, break. And it's the same thing today as it was that day. And the devil is after you never believing that God loves you. But in all these things, we're overwhelmingly conquered through him who loved us. Listen very carefully. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor things present, nor things to come, nor powers, nor height, nor depth, nor any other created thing shall be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus our Lord. He says angels, principalities. No, first he says death, life, angels, principalities, things present, things to come. Your past didn't make this list because God dealt with it. And your past has the ability not to separate God's love from coming, but to separate you from ever receiving it. Because if we don't believe the finished work of the cross, we can never believe that we're right with God. And if we don't believe that we're right with God, what do we really have? We have a religion without relationship. We have just another religion. The world has many religions. There's only one that has a relationship to where the very king that created you humbled himself, became a bondservant to come, to die, to live the life that you live, to be tempted at all points, yet without sin, to be crucified in innocence, yet die a sinner's death, to be raised a brand new man, the firstborn among many, so that you could be free from the law of sin and death, and righteousness apart from the law could be imputed to you. You could believe that when he said it was finished, your past was totally in that right there. And that on that tree, he wiped out all the handwriting against you. God has more thoughts for you than outnumber the grains of sand in the world. 1 cubic foot, think with me, 1 cubic foot of sand has more than 1.6 billion grains in it. And he has more thoughts for you than outnumber all the grains in the whole world. What if your mind got a hold of 20 thoughts and held fast to 20 thoughts God had for you? What if your mind got renewed with 50 thoughts that God had for you? What if your mind got a hold of 100 thoughts that God thought about you? And it's not like he thought about it once, he thinks about it all day, every day. What if you and your soul being renewed got renewed with 1,000 thoughts that he thinks about you every day? Listen, the lack is not on his end. It's our job to diligently seek him, to establish relationship, and to start with right standing with God, and to finish with right standing with God. Stand to your feet, please. Wow. Jesus, I thank you for this word that you taught me today. Just so many different things that he shared with my heart today as I was sharing. So amazing. He's just so beautiful. God, I'm asking you to make this real for everyone in here, and that we would burn with a healthy desire to see the world know you. That God, as we go out there today, we would encounter people with your love, God. We wouldn't try to talk anybody into this, but we would really share our hearts about who you are. God, I thank you for miracles. Thank you for signs and wonders. I thank you for prophetic words. God, I ask you to flow through everyone here. Jesus, I thank you. I know that the key to this is right standing. So, Father, I thank you. I'm asking you to give this word of righteousness to everyone listening, whether by CD, by DVD, or whether you're in the room now. God, let us receive this word so that we can live unashamed. Father, I thank you for amazing encounters for everyone in here. I thank you for grace, 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 speaking to the mountain, move. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.